Hello YouTube. I want to tell you guys about my comic story. I am a little bit tired, but we move, we hustle. Y'all know how it is. So anyway, let me talk about my comic story. We'll start with Dear Classic, and I'll try and walk around the house, give myself some energy. But basically, the very first story of Dear is just about our main character, Topman. Oh, by the way, I am Megaverse. I am trying to make a choose your own adventure story. So I had to do a little burp. But yes, I am making a choose your own adventure story, and it's gonna be mostly the story just depends on how you guys want to play. So it's not gonna be like Telltale when each choice just leads to the same outcome. No, every choice that you make as a player will give you a unique and completely different outcome. Okay? So let's talk about Dear, number one. So, the first issue of Dear, you see yourself as Topman. You try and leave your grandfather's house, so you can go get a cure to save him. You are trained by your three ghostly mentors, and with them you're gonna help your grandfather escape. So that's the first story of Dear. There's so much more. You get to fight fish people. You're gonna see the Grim Reaper, the Four Horsemen. Each part has at least two. So we have part one, like the first part of the story. If we're going in like One Piece terms, it will be pre-Grand Line and then Grand Line, or pre-time skip and then time skip. It's basically gonna be part one and part two. Okay, don't make it more complex than it needs to be. Alright, the second story that we're gonna talk about is Dear Hip Hop. And the reason why it's called hip hop is because originally I was going to have like a bunch of different genres of music, because my comic is going to have music. You'll have to scroll through. There will be QR codes which will take you to the Spotify and the YouTube versions of the stories. Of the stories, and those will give you the music that you can listen to while reading the comic. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, so the second story is, well, we have a more cocky, more confident Topman for firstly. But this Topman was given to a underground secret school of martial artists. And these martial artists were, they're very shady. And Topman needs to leave this place so he can go find his grandfather. Now, you might be saying stuff like, okay, is this time he's going to save him? Because in the first story, he has to go save his grandfather. Did I explain that? Jeez. Anyway, in the first story, he has to save his grandfather because he was cursed by a witch. The grandfather was cursed. But in this story, the grandfather is the evil one, and Topman, as the main character, needs to actually, stop. I can't put my hand in the frame too much because I have to draw that. But yeah, Topman has to stop that from happening. So he wants to go and kill his grandfather so he can save the world from him. The only issue with that is actually the fact that his grandfather is in a whole other place and he's not invited on the mission. Plus, everyone hates him because he's essentially seen as like the son of the devil, because he is the grandson of the person trying to destroy the planet. So it makes sense to why people don't like Topman. They don't like Topman because of his lineage. The third story is called Is called Dear Blues, and it's about Topman, but he's like in a coal mine. So Topman had like this best friend, and his name was it was like something. I made the script, but Only the first chapter so far. So, yeah. These two used to be best friends, but then, sorry, I don't mean to sound bored talking about, I love my stories. I love them. It's just that this is like my third take writing this, and I am a little bit tired. I think I'm coming from like a sugar crash or something. But, yeah, so, yeah, we, just relax. Just relax and talk to the audience. If you guys made it this far in the video, comment below. We love tacos. If you made it this far in the video. No, actually, if you made it this far in the video, leave a question for me. Leave any question you have about the comic. It's completely free, by the way. Webtoons, you don't have to pay a dime for any of the content. If you want extras, there's a Patreon, but just for the story, all free. All free, baby. You don't have to pay a dime. Anyway. Yeah, so Topman is just that nigga. You know, he's just that guy. And he made so much brilliant technology in the mines that people have now just been praising him, and his best friend took the glory that Topman has and therefore became the president of the coal mines. And essentially the whole world thinks that the coal mines is all that there is to the world. There's nothing else. There's no outside. There's no surface. It's kind of like Gurren Lagann, but it's going to be a little different. Trust me. There's going to be aliens and shit. Although I do think there was aliens in Gurren Lagann. But it's different. Trust. But yeah. There's going to be... Hold up. So, like, while this is happening, his grandfather, Topman's grandfather, who's on the surface, gives Topman some kind of, like, telepathic dream where they're communicating to one another, saying stuff like, there is an outside. I'm on the outside. Come find me since there's nothing else for you there. Because Topman and his best friend were, like, broke. They were living on the streets before. But now that the best friend has betrayed Topman, he's gonna go off. And essentially, these guys and everyone lives inside of alien heads. Yeah, that was a little tryst for you guys there. They live inside of alien heads. That's crazy, innit? But yeah. So these guys live inside of alien heads. Weird, innit? I said that like 3 times. But that's not really that crazy. The stories are to get a lot more crazier. Trust me. Is that a bug near my window? It is a very bright day today. I love bright days, but I don't like the bugs that come in just because it's bright. Just because it's bright does not mean you get to come inside my house. Anyway, side note, tangent a little bit. Another reason why I don't like the summer is because suddenly, now that's the summer, now that it's hot outside, everyone's trying to mingle. Everyone's trying to talk. Everyone's trying to like, yo, come outside, come outside, come outside. But I'm trying to work. I was unsuccessful in the wintertime. Like, they expect you to do so much in the winter so you can waste your time in the summer. I'm still working in the summer. I'm still gonna do my thing in the summer. But people just be like, yo, like, come outside for the summer, bro. Respectfully, no thank you. Respectfully, no thank you. Respectfully, I want to stay inside and talk to you guys, the audience, about my comic. I want to make as many videos as I can and pitch this to you guys as many times that I can, so you guys can just, you know, like the comic or see the potential in it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm showing the best case of the comic. I don't know if I'm doing the best case to, like, justify the comic's existence to you guys, but I'm just telling, like, a really baseline story Like, just to let you guys know that each one does have its own thing. Anyway, so that's Dear Blues, right? At the end of it, the best friend is trying to, you know, get the trust of Topman back after all these years of riding on his success. And once again, this is a choose your own story. You can choose to forgive him. You can choose to go back to your grandfather. You can choose everything in the story. Well, not everything, but you can choose a lot of things in the story. There's so many different timelines that when it's all done and finished, there's going to be hours, and I mean hours of content to go through. There's going to be little secrets that you can have. But don't expect like Gravity Falls or like Oda style stuff. I'm still just a simple guy at the end of the day. And this is going to be like what, my third comic and my first real like audience comic. So don't expect too much, but at the same time expect something, because this is a choose your own story. You get to decide. You get to decide. Yes, you get to decide. Anyway, am I sitting on my glass? Oh, I am. My glasses broke. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they broke. I have to fix it real quick. The next story that we're going to be talking about, guys, is going to be called Dear Jazz. Now, Dear Jazz is a story about a very successful topman who's basically like the Michael Jackson of his verse. You know, he's basically the Michael Jackson of his verse. And essentially what has happened is he's done with the stardom. He wants to go off and do his own thing, you know? He wants to go off and like live his own life. He doesn't want to be burdened down with fame. But his family doesn't want that. So they're going to try every tactic to get him back. And or kill him. Yeah, his family is prepared to kill him for betraying like the family lineage. And his grandfather in this case is actually one of his ops trying to stop him from leaving. But Topman has been doing some things underground. He has a guy who's trying to like help him out. Are we serious? My charger looks like it's about, my phone looks like it's about to die. That's not good. Let's take you. It broke. Let's take you, plug you in here. Oh, there should be something here. Should be. Will it charge? I don't think so. No, it's not charging. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep talking. So Dear Jazz is a story about a topman who's done with the stardom. You get to fight mutant gorillas. You know, the 100 men versus one gorilla? Well, this time it's about to be 100 gorillas versus one topman. And we'll see who wins. But yeah, this topman isn't specially trained. Just has a lot of street smarts. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of timelines. There's going to be dungeons. Yeah, like Solo Leveling. They said, I made the concept first. I'm joking. There was probably some guy in like the 1800s who thought of it first. But no, I genuinely thought about going in the dungeon and it playing like a game. But it was a little bit different back then. And I'll be showing that all off. So this one's kind of like a little Solo Leveling thing, if I had to compare it to anything. I haven't seen Solo Leveling, but I know they have dungeons. Anyway, let's talk about the next one. We're kind of rapid firing through this. I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. Soul Music. So this one is actually like a furry topman. Yeah, a furry. Can you believe it? Okay, my bad. So yeah, this topman is essentially a, I want to say furry. He's a literal cat. So these are kind of like cat animal human hybrids. Well, not just animal human hybrids. And in this version, the grandfather is legitimately sick, but the cure just hasn't been invented yet to save him. So you can do time travel stuff. You can go through the world and try to make your own cure. But yeah. And this Topman has an alter ego, right? So when he, well, you know, like the Incredible Hulk, when he gets really mad, he turns into the Hulk. This is essentially going to be an alter ego when Topman needs it in dire situation. He can turn into like this cool detective version of Topman, who's like stronger, bigger, smarter, less agile though. So there's going to be like different things that each Topman can do. But yeah, that's essentially gonna be Soul, right? Pretty cool, huh? Thank you. I don't know, I just complimented myself. I hope I can edit this in a fun way and that you guys actually don't hate me for this. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be like a furry Topman, so yeah. It's gonna be very peaceful. He lives in the forest with the rest of his community, but he's leaving out. This Topman's a lot more dumber, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, I should say the genre. I'll probably put something up in the beginning, but it's also gonna be very comedic. The whole entire Deer series is gonna have a lot of comedic, funny moments. And that's just because I work better making a comedy than I do making a very serious shonen. Like, I couldn't make a Hunter x Hunter or a Chainsaw Man. You know, I just gotta stick with my own style, and this is gonna be very comedic. There's gonna be comedy moments. Anyway, moving on from that one, we're gonna go to the next one, which is actually Dear Soul, and the other one that I was just talking about was called something else entirely. It was called Afrobeats. Anyway, let's talk about Dear Soul then. So this Topman, Dear Soul, is actually two Topmans, much like the Afro one. However, there's a difference. Well, the Afro one is a personality that comes out when Topman really needs him, therefore making them two essentially different people. This one is more so two different personalities of Topman colliding. So we have the angry personality and a very sad personality. More empathetic in a way. And essentially these guys are trying to fight a war which is happening in their area. They're trying to live in the memories of their grandfather, because their grandfather was like a great man who's still fighting in the war, and Topman's just trying to end the war, so he left home and he's trying to go on his way so he can find some way to end the war. I won't spoil it because it's not fully planned out. I don't want to come here talking about a bunch of different things that don't matter. I just want to come on here and tell you guys that is going to be the plot of that series. You can go to space. There's going to be space kidnappings. You get kidnapped. You get to fight. There's two rich people who are just fucking up each other for no reason. There's going to be a museum with criminals who will come and kidnap you. You will get sold as a slave. There's a lot that's happening in this story. There's a lot that's happening in every story, and each one's unique. And these are just like the different timelines that can happen, bro. Trust me, I'm cooking. But yeah, so that's going to be their soul music. Excuse me. Anyway, let's talk about the next one, being ballad music, or ballad, or whatever. Essentially, in this timeline, Topman, you know, the guy who we've been talking about as the MC in every single other Deer story, he successfully reached his goal. Now, his goal was to save his grandfather, very reminiscent of the first original story. Essentially, this Topman is the one which essentially save the day. He already did everything, and he's regarded as a hero across the lands. So he picks up an apprentice, right? And this apprentice is a lot more edgier than Topman, and he's trying to do things his own way. He's trying to move outside of the shadow of Topman. And so we see him trying to solve a murder mystery and like a drug case in another city, right? And when he does solve that case, he will become equal to Topman for completing such a grand task. So essentially, you're playing as the apprentice. Topman's there, but you're trying to gain independence, and that's who you are. So this one, Topman ain't even the main character. It's Topman's student who's the main character in this story. Okay, with that out of the way, let's finally talk about the next one, which is Viper Wave. Now, I'm sorry if I'm going like super fast for all this. Yeah, I'm really sorry if I'm going super fast through all of this. It's just that other than the first story, not everything for the other 15 are planned. I think I said that, but I'll just say it again. But the other 15 aren't fully planned. I have the ideas for the first 2 volumes, but other than that, we don't have everything planned. While with the first one, we have literally scripts upon scripts, and we have so much content to give. And while I'm also making this, I'm also trying not to waste you guys' time, you know? I'm gonna cut down some stuff, but everything I'm saying is pretty relevant. So there's not gonna be a lot to cut down in the first place. And since I'm a new YouTuber, I don't want to scare you guys and be like, oh yeah, this guy fucking sucks. If you like the idea, if you're really fucking with the idea, I really appreciate following the Discord. This is something I could have used when I was a kid. Like, especially going volume by volume. That's the thing that really just has me going like, wow. So a little side note here. I was a big fan of Unordinary, and I'm still willing to give it another try. But I remember just waiting week after week and seeing no progress. I even got stuff for the extra early chapters and nothing. It was like a nothing burger. Essentially, there was like a lot of content which didn't even like make sense. It was really annoying just to see like John just being angsty for like 20 chapters without anything happening. I think the big kick of the story was when Topman went evil. But I know there's like a bigger story now. There's bigger conflicts and everything. And that's really cool and all. But I just remember going week by week and feeling bad. So having a story which, you know, you can just have the volume of it. Just have volume 1. It's only going to be like 10 chapters. But those 10 chapters will easily become like 20 episodes. Just straight up 20 episodes that you can watch with music. I really enjoy music. I'm a huge music fan. And just the fact that I'm trying to put in music, like actual, like if you haven't seen the other video, go see it to get like a preview of the music. I'll put a little snippet here. But yeah, I mean, just having that kind of like thing really just pushes the limits of the story. And also having a choose your own story thing will make it a lot more fun for me when I was a kid. But also, I think the biggest thing about any, you know, franchise or anything is the community. So I'm just trying to make a bigger community. But yeah, I feel like this is something I would be interested in if I was a kid again. So if you guys are, and this is free, it's going to be completely free. If any of you guys are, you know, really down to just like read the comic or just join the Discord and wait for it to come out, I'd appreciate it, because you know it's gonna get me a lot of not only respect around like my family, it's gonna give me so much more. I'm not even gonna talk. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Worry about how the comic feels to you. Because I don't want to make a comic that people are just pitying me to like be like, oh wow, it's so good. I know you guys won't do that. You don't care. But please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the series. I think it's cool, but let me know. With that said, we're gonna go to Viper Rave, which is the next story. This is gonna be a 2-part. Once I hit 30 minutes, I'm just gonna cut it off, make another part. But Viper Rave is basically when the grandfather is already dead, and Topman is having to go alone. The world is covered in a poisonous gas, so people have to wear face masks to go everywhere. There's different districts of people. Basically a lot of segregation throughout the lands. And Topman is trying to, finish what his grandfather started and save the world. Get rid of the poisonous gas. There's gonna be giant kaijus. There's gonna be schools, robots. This one's a lot more scientific, futuristic. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that going on as well. Let me move on to the next one, which is going to be, gimme Techno. All the things I could say about Techno. Excuse me, I mixed them up. So Techno is the one with the poisonous gas all over, but Viper Rave is about a uni student who dropped out so he can study ghosts. So now we're going to Dear Viper Rave. So in this universe, Topman grandfather is dead again. R.I.P. to Broski. But essentially, oh my god, Topman has dropped out so he can study ghosts, which has been his passion. University was really stressing him. This good life that he was living really was just stressing him out. And so he was just like, okay, fuck it, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna drop out and I'm gonna study about ghosts with my 2 best friends. But then one day, a ghost was coming up to him and his friends because they were getting way too close to something that they shouldn't have. That something we don't know yet. That's a secret. That's up here. But it's something that they shouldn't have been messing with. And essentially, because of that, the ghost turns his 2 best friends into books and basically says, don't peep around anymore. The grandfather spirit is trying to help Topman in any way that it can, but essentially Topman just needs to find the secret, go into the ghost zone to save his friends, and also discover, who he truly is. There's gonna be a really deeper meaning into the power systems and everything, but I'm not gonna talk about them just yet. Not yet. Maybe next video, but not yet. So yeah, Topman is doing all that bullshit, blah blah blah. And that's the story of Viper Wave. This Topman is a lot more nerdy, a lot more geeky, and I would say heavy inspiration from Danny Phantom, the whole thing about ghosts. But essentially, these ghosts are trying to get him from not finding out something. There's something he shouldn't find out. He's being nosy. He's trying to save his friends. And so, ghosts are going to be coming after him now. So choose your own story. You get to go wherever you want. There's going to be stuff like fighting all the ghosts at once. You're a lot stronger with a certain power. I can't talk about it yet. Okay, that shit tight. Pause. Anyway, that's Viper Wave. And next we're going to go into Dear Lo-Fi. In fact, we are going to be doing that in the second part. We're going to be talking about the rest of the 16 in the second part. So, be there. I'll probably release these 2 at the same time. But, yeah, I don't want to waste your time anymore. If you don't fuck with the comic, sorry, but there might be some idea in here. There might be a story that you really like. So, please, join us for the next time. Leave a subscribe. Leave a follow. Leave a like. You made it all the way. You made it all the way through the video, and you haven't liked the video. You liked the video and you haven't liked the video, huh? But yeah, I'm gonna end it off. We're gonna make a part 2.